Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and man, appreciate you guys hanging with me a little bit and watching the video. And guys, I want to talk about something that I sort of call like the dark side of tournament fishing that happens after you've been involved in tournament fishing for like 20 or 30 years, especially at a high level. Something takes place that people need to hear about that nobody ever talks about, that really affects the anglers a lot, and we're going to dig into that in today's episode here. Also, guys, just a few quick housekeeping tips that keeps the lights on in the tackle room here on Intuitive Angling. Quick reminder that Solarback, guys, has got the big April sale on my signature glasses. We got 3 different frame colors now, black, this color here, and the matte gray. 30% off through the end of April. Also free shipping and handling if you use the promo code RandyB. I'll put the Solarback link in the description of this video. And also, guys, anybody interested in booking an on-the-water private lesson with me, just go to my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat. Shoot me a private message for details, get you guys lined out with that. And as always, guys, thank you for everybody that's hit that subscribe button here to the channel. We really appreciate that. Okay, one of the reasons, a lot of guys, that watch my videos say that I'm negative sometime about tournament fishing and critical of tournaments. Let me sort of explain to you what happens here, why that is. I have been a tournament angler, since 1980 to some extent or another. And I fished professional events from about 1985 to 2020 full-time. That was my full-time occupation as a tournament angler, and I generated all of my income from tournament winnings or sponsorships. So I was fully vested in the tournament realm. Got into the YouTube in 2020, fish regional stuff now. But for 25 years, I traveled across the country as a professional angler. Here's what happens. Let me explain to you guys what happens a little bit. When you get started out in tournament angling, you're full of the vigor of life. You've got everything's unknown. You're full of the wonderment. You're excited. You're pumped up. It's just like the world's an open book in front of you. You don't really know what to expect. And you travel around the country and you're going to new places you've never seen before, new experiences, new people, new bodies of water. It's all great and it's all fresh. After you start doing that a while, and after you start competing in the tournaments, every tournament angler is going to have hills and valleys in their tournament fishing. Some more hills, some more valleys, depending upon the angler. But what happens, and what has happened to me especially a lot over the past 30 years, is after you are fully invested in this, and you spend 150 days away 150 days a year away from home, you are under this financial strain of having to produce and pay entry fees and pay expenses and to win tournaments. And then what happens is you have things happen to you during the course of a tournament. Let's say, for example, you've got a 5-pounder on and you get it that far from your hand, you're ready to grab that 5-pounder and it twists off, it costs you winning the tournament. Or like what happened to me a couple times, you miss winning a tournament by 1 ounce because the bass spit up a 3-ounce shad in your live well. That you had no rhyme or reason, it just spits up a big gizzard shad. Or you've got a good bag of fish and you're running to weigh in and you're going to come close to winning the tournament and you blow your motor 2 miles away from the takeoff. Or you spin a hub, or some mechanical problem takes place. Or you find a huge bunch of fish, you think you have it to yourself, and you just happen to get boat number 100 instead of boat number 5, and boat number 5 gets to that area spot first and wins the tournament off the place that you found. In other words, you have these continuous series of, I guess the best way to put it, they are professional injustices that hammer away at you and take away that magic and that mystery, and it takes away the excitement, and it kicks you in the balls after this happens time and time again. Prime example in my own situation, guys. I've counted this up. I've won 2 Bassmaster tournaments in my life, and I've actually won 3 FLW tour events. That doesn't show. I finished second in the record books show I finished second, but in cumulative weight, I would have won those 3 tournaments before they changed the rule to cumulative weight. So in my own mind, I won 3, but never mind. I counted over 20 tournaments where I've like finished in the top 5 or the top 10 in, where I literally had the fish hooked and got them right to the boat, and the fish got off. And if I would have landed those fish, even like a 14 incher, I would have won the tournament. So 20 in my own mind, I'm thinking, okay, Randy, if you would have landed the strikes that you generated and found those fish, you would have won close to 25 tournaments, Kevin Van Dam class career. So you look back on this and you're in bed at night and you're reflecting on that, and it creates this jaded bitterness amongst anglers after a period of that, and you can't escape it. It's like, yeah, I can go out, and a lot of anglers can, and we can put that behind us, and you can appreciate the current time that you have on the water, and you can still enjoy tournament fishing. But there's still this jaded bitterness that comes from fishing professionally for decades and decades that happens to everybody. It doesn't just happen to me. So if you come across an angler that seems like they're crusty and they're angry and they're like yelling at the clouds, like some people call me, you got to understand what people have been through in the sport. Because most people that label anglers that complain about tournament fishing or complain about stuff like that is just old angry, bitter old dudes, something like that. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that bitterness, because like with me, I was one of those guys that was just full of that wonderment, and it's like everything, oh my God, it's all new. This is great. This is awesome. And then you have 2 or 3 tournaments where like you miss the money by an ounce, or you miss winning the tournament by an ounce, or something happens. There's constantly something happening that kicks you back a notch, and it accumulates, it builds up, and nobody can get past that, guys. The only way that somebody is not affected by that is if they are financially independently wealthy, because finances and money in tournament fishing, you can't overestimate or underestimate how big of an impact that has on the stress levels of a tournament angler. I know a handful of household names in fishing, guys. You would know them if I told you who they were, you'd know exactly who they were. There's a handful of dudes out there that have risen to the top level because they've been financially independent from family money their entire life. So for example, if they have a bad season, no big deal. We got plenty of money. We'll just fork it up. They lose a big sponsor, no big deal. We have plenty of money. We'll pay our own way. But for the most part, for 90% of the anglers out there, that's not the way it is. There's this crushing financial pressure under you all the time to perform. And when you come so close to being successful and you have some like uncontrolled variable happen, like I just mentioned, that creates this negative attitude, and it creates this bitterness. It's a real thing. It's something that is real. And I just wanted to pass that along, guys, to maybe give everybody a little bit more of an understanding. When you see somebody that comes across as bitter and negative and mad and angry, you can't really say that unless you've walked a mile in their shoes, unless you've been there. You can't judge somebody not knowing what they have been through to have those attitudes. I mean, I've known some old guys throughout my life that didn't fish tournaments, but they seemed like they were a little bit angry and mad until I found out what they'd been through. I found out some things that happened in their personal life that it would set anybody back. I mean, it would cause anybody to have that type of an attitude. So main thing about that, guys, is just be kind to people. Don't judge people for how you perceive they are, because most people have a story and there's a reason why they feel the way they do or act the way they do. So anyway, guys, hope you're well. We'll talk later.